Hello and welcome back. Today's video is going to be the $1,000 fantasy Sephora cart tag. I am really excited about this video. This was created by Noel and a lot of people have been doing this. It's basically pretending you have a free $1,000 to spend at Sephora. What would you buy? I've done several fantasy wish lists on my channel before, so if you've been watching me for a while, you've probably heard me mention some of these products before, and apparently I still have not purchased them. I will say a few of these I definitely do plan on purchasing at some point, especially now that you can use your points for money off on purchases at Sephora. It's still nowhere near as good as the Ulta points, but personally I think it's at least an improvement. So I do have some points saved up that I could use for some purchases, which I may buy one or two of these in the somewhat near future, but some of these I probably will never buy. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to do. Let's just get into it. I separated this out by brand, and yes, it's a lot of luxury brands because they're expensive. So yeah, the total that I got to was $978 though. So I didn't quite make it to 1,000, but you know, maybe in this fantasy situation, I would grab something by the little checkout area on my way out. Let's start with Natasha Nonna because I really love her formula. I have the Metropolis palette and two of the minis. I would definitely want to buy the purple blue palette. This is $239, and I've mentioned this before. I would love to have this palette. It is just extremely expensive. However, some of you guys have told me that Natasha Nonna has really good Black Friday sales on her website, and people have said that some of her palettes are even 50% off. I will likely wait to see if I could find something like this. If this palette was ever 50% off, I would totally get it. Then we have a less expensive Natasha palette at $129 of the Biba palette. It's so neutral, and I know I have all these colors. However, I love her formula so much that I would love to have a very neutral palette. I have the Mini Nude and the Metropolis, which both have a lot of warm tone shades. Even this, I mean, it says it's nude, but it is quite warm toned. Now the Biba is pretty warm toned too, but there are some more neutral and cool toned shades in that palette, which I do not have in the Natasha Nonna formula, which is why I really want to get the Biba palette. That one, maybe I'll use Sephora points on that. $129 is still very expensive, but it's nowhere near $239. And then the last one is one of the even less expensive Natasha palettes at $65, the Sunrise palette. Funny enough, I recently was watching some of my older videos just to kind of get ideas, and I did a video, I've done several videos called Palettes I'm Glad I Didn't Buy, and I put the Sunrise palette in one of those videos. And I said that I had all those colors and that I didn't need it. But lately I've been thinking about that palette, and it is a really beautiful yellow, red, very warm toned. But again, it's not the same warm tones that I have in the Mini Nude and the Metropolis. It's, you know, more red, fuchsia, yellows, whatever. This is a fantasy situation. I would buy all those palettes. I put two things from Charlotte Tilbury on this list. I have a few things from her, and I have mentioned that some of them I really like, that like the Film Star Bronze and Glow, and then there's a couple things that I'm just not as wowed by. For example, her lipsticks are nice, but it's not amazing in my opinion. However, people have been raving about her bronzers. They are $55, and I really do want to get one of these. This is another thing that I was maybe thinking of using Sephora points to get. And then the other thing is one of her quads. Now, her eyeshadows have hit or miss reviews. I recently watched Morgan Turner rank all of her Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palettes, and it seems that some of them are really good quality, and then others are mediocre. So I would definitely have to do more research into which one of her quads I would get. You know, like I said, $53 for 4 eyeshadows. Even in a fantasy situation, I would be a little bit weary about, you know, but at some point I kind of want to try Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadows just out of curiosity. All right, if you've been watching my channel the last few months, you knew that I would have to mention Pat McGrath because I have really fallen in love with her products in the last 6 to 7 months. I really love her eyeshadows and her lip products. However, I really want to try her foundation. It is $68, but it has really good reviews. $68 is a lot for a foundation. I think I have probably paid up to $55 for a foundation, but never above that. So again, made up money, you know, we shall see. And then her concealer, which is $32. I really want to try that as well. That has really good reviews. Yes. And then the other one, I only picked one Pat McGrath palette, and that is the Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction. That is $125. Now, Pat McGrath did just have a sale for the 4th of July weekend on her website, and I did order a palette. It's not here yet, but I ordered one of the 6-pan palettes that was 50% off, so it was only $31. Those are usually $65. She did have a little bit of the sale on some of the larger Mothership palettes as well, but I didn't do it this time. But that is a palette that I would probably wait for a sale on the Pat McGrath website to actually purchase. Side note, something I've mentioned in a lot of my videos lately, I don't buy as much from Sephora and Ulta as I used to because I've just realized that the specific brand websites have way better deals than either Ulta or Sephora. For example, Pat McGrath just had this sale where she had some palettes that were 50% off and everything was 20% off. And I got a Viseart palette from their website for 20% off. You know, so I'm not Rouge at Sephora, so I never get 20% off from them anyway. Side note, but something to consider. A lot of these, if I ever purchase, I probably wouldn't actually go to Sephora to get them. This next thing I'm more just curious about, and I really don't think I would ever purchase in real life, and that is a Tom Ford quad. There's a lot of these on the website. I think there's like 15 or so, and these are $88. What? I'm sorry, 4 eyeshadows for $88? I mean, this makes Pat McGrath look like a drugstore brand. What? I don't even understand. But I gotta say, I've also been watching a lot of YouTubers that kind of specialize in luxury makeup, where they mostly use luxury makeup on their channels. They use some other stuff too, but I'm talking about Kelsey Brianna J, Kinky Sweat, and Morgan Turner. They review a lot of these luxury brands, Natasha, Pat, Tom Ford, and I'm just getting more and more curious because I don't own a ton of luxury products. So, you know, a lot of them have talked about these Tom Ford quads, saying that they do like them, but $88, no, that's insane. But if I got one, I would maybe get one of the cool toned ones. Again, in this made up scenario. One thing that I put on this list is actually a repurchase, and that is the Marc Jacobs Gloss in Sugar Sugar. And I was looking on the Sephora website last night to plan this video, and these have gone up in price. I had this lip gloss a couple years ago. I completely finished it. I really, really liked it, but I just never purchased it because I have a lot of other lip glosses. And these are now $29. So yeah, that kind of is deterring me even more. Even though it's only $1, I get kind of annoyed when I see already expensive products go up in price. But if I had free money, I would repurchase that gloss because I really did like it. And then I do have a palette from Marc Jacobs on this list, the Extravagance palette. It is very gold and it is $50. I've really wanted to try the Marc Jacobs eyeshadow formula for several years. A lot of people I follow on YouTube and Instagram have some Marc Jacobs palettes and they seem to really, really like the formula. I've never, been super attracted to one of the color stories to, really go out on a limb and buy something that expensive, but, maybe eventually I would. This is one more like the Tom Ford where I'm just curious. I want to know what the eyeshadow formula is like. And then one last thing on this list that I've actually wanted for a while, and that is the Dior Glow Face Palette, which is a highlighter palette. It is $45, which actually doesn't sound that expensive for Dior makeup. I don't know. I don't have any Dior makeup. I've purchased one thing from Dior once. No, that's not true. I've had the foundation and that actually caused a bunch of bumps on my face, so I returned it. And I had the Dior concealer like 6 years ago, and I did use that up. I liked it, but it didn't wow me at all, which is why I haven't really purchased any other Dior products since that time. I have no idea why the foundation caused that reaction on my face. I don't even have sensitive skin, so it was super weird. But this highlighter palette has gotten a lot of really good reviews and it looks beautiful and I love highlighters. So this is something I've considered purchasing for quite some time. And Obviously, I still have not. Alrighty, that is it for my fantasy Sephora $1,000 wish list. Some of these products I do hope to purchase at some point, and some of these I probably will never purchase. Some of them are just way too crazy expensive, like the Tom Ford quad. I don't think I could ever bring myself to do that. I mean, maybe if it was 50% off or something crazy like that, but we shall see. And if you know when brands do good sales on their website, please let us know, because that's just something I've been really trying to follow since I've realized that there's just way better deals there. I mean, the only problem with that is, it would be more difficult to return it if you didn't like it. For example, you can easily return things to Sephora within a certain amount of days. Again, depending on your country though, that's not actually true everywhere. But anyway, there are pros and cons. Let us know, what would you buy if you had free money to spend on makeup? That is it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.